Welcome once again to another episode of Fists, Kicks, and Flicks, the podcast about martial arts, movies, and life. I am one of your hosts, Eugene Plowden, and with me, as always, my podcast partner, Mike Gibbs. What's up, Mike?
What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. Chilling. If this is your first time with us, I want you to know we are members of the Martial Arts Internet Network. On Mondays, we got Raw with Mimi and Lump. Tuesdays, CTE, Christian Travis Experience. Wednesday is us, Fists, Kicks, and Flicks with Gina and Mike. And Thursdays, you can get the Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. For more information, you can check us out on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. All right, Mike, it's showtime. Man. Oh, goodness. We finally are about to get through the second half of this movie. And, man, I was regretting. I literally rewatched my second half at about 3 o'clock. I was dreading it all weekend, yesterday and today. I was not looking forward to the second rewatch or third rewatch.
I felt the same. We were both watching at about the same time. It was brutal.
Yeah.
And you said it best. You had sent me a message. You said, "I'm never watching this movie again."
Ever.
And I agree 100%.
Never, ever. All right, let's jump into it. I had to go back and listen to see where we left off last time because I didn't remember, and I didn't leave nothing in my notes to say, okay, pick up right here. But so we left off. The thugs had just left the restaurant and they bumped into Tom Lung. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So later on in the evening, they're sitting around talking, and he's sitting off by himself. He looks a little upset. And the workers are sitting around exaggerating, saying what they would have done if they had given the opportunity. But Uncle Wayne, they said Uncle Wayne stopped them from getting involved. And as you know what, man, as more and more as this movie went on, I was paying attention to, they never said this outright, but he couldn't read. He couldn't read. He could not read at all. Tang Long, that is, I'm talking about. And we'll get to that in just a second. Man, then the thugs return. Okay. And the one guy, once again, he had a terrible voice. So this time, this was not the same group of thugs that were there.
Right.
This is the one that has the brother, the black guy, with that horrible voiceover. Every time I heard him talk, man, I just cringed inside.
It was like almost like the voice from, I can't even explain it. Almost like the Wayans brothers men on film.
Yeah, but it's like
higher pitch though.
Yeah. So, this guy, it looks like the real actor is actually saying the words, but they still overdubbed it, for, right. I don't know. But I could tell that was not that guy's voice. They ordered some food. They asked him what he wanted to eat, and he said Chinese spare ribs. And then he punched a waiter in the ribs. And then started to pour stuff out of the cup. And then Miss Chen asked, what are they doing? They said, you know what this is about. You should have left the restaurant. You know what? I didn't even put in my notes. I think this was the second day. This was the next day that all of this happened.
After, yeah.
Yeah, this is another day. Yeah. Because the workers called for Uncle Wayne to come out, and then the thugs stand up. And Tung Long is just watching from a distance. And then Uncle Wayne says, careful, don't let them get you riled up. This is so stupid. This was so stupid to me because let me get my words. This whole time, he's trying to, they ask for help from Tung Long, but they don't want him to do too much. Then this is the perfect opportunity for all of them to fight. And especially when you hear why later on in the movie, This was just so stupid. He didn't want the restaurant to get messed up. If there were 4 or 5 guys in this restaurant, let them fight. Let them get it over with.
Right.
You know. Um, and then so they asked the workers. The workers asked the thugs to go outside, and they go outside to fight. This is like something that you would see. I don't know in
A
a
Western
May.
almost.
Yeah,
Like you
exactly.
go out the bar and the gunslingers. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so they're outside to fight. Um, a thug knocked one of the workers down. They laugh. And then because the thugs think that what they do is Chinese boxing. They don't realize that the workers are like doing karate. And
Right.
then Tung Lao was the one with the Chinese boxing. But halfway after they started saying that he did kung fu, that he stopped saying Chinese boxing. Do
Yeah,
you pay attention to that?
he ended up calling it kung fu
Yeah.
because he said, "Let's go. We could go." He told the girl later on, "We can
Right.
go do kung fu."
Yeah. Yeah. Um, is I don't know anything about Chinese boxing, but is that a part of kung fu? Do you know if that's
Man,
anything?
I don't know.
Okay, all right, it ain't that important.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up though. See if it's real.
Okay. Eventually, Tung Long steps in, and then he knocks the thugs out with 2 kicks. The next guy steps up. So they're just coming up one at a time, and I hated that through this movie. They kept
Yeah, why
doing
did
that
they just jump him?
at one time. But
Right,
we did see a scene like that later on in the movie
right.
where it looked more realistic. A lot of this, the fighting in this movie looked really, really choreographed. It looked really stagey.
Yeah,
I didn't like it. I didn't like the fighting. Um, so they're pretty much fighting in the alley, this alleyway behind the restaurant. Um, and Tung Lao pretty much beats them all up. Then everyone congratulates Tung Lung. Uncle Wayne, uh, he was upset. He said that they could come back looking for revenge.
right.
Um, I don't know, man. What did you think of that?
Well, we found out later on what the deal was, but I was like, man, if they come in, whoop them.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, okay. So
But
for
he
those,
called. Here's my thing.
Mhm.
He obviously wanted the help, had him come over get the help, but then he's criticizing the help, and the help is to beat the thugs up.
What else was he expecting?
Right.
Like what? I mean, what else? I mean, why else did he have all of those workers? Why else would Tung Lung even be there? Like, what was his purpose? I mean, he
Right.
wasn't an attorney or anything. He wasn't anything. He
He
obviously,
wasn't a police officer. He
yeah,
wasn't.
he wasn't
He
anything.
wasn't. He wasn't even security. He
No.
was a fighter.
So they should have expected them to. He should have wanted them to fight. You know.
Right.
He's worried about revenge. I don't know, man. That was just stupid. The workers aren't worried though, and those guys they acted tough, but they weren't too tough at
Mm.
all.
No.
And I would have thought that they would have started doing some training with Tung Lung, but we never really saw that.
No. They just kind of stuck to their karate martial arts style, and
Hmm.
he did the Chinese kung fu and beat the
Hmm.
hell out of them.
Okay, well, during that fight, I think we got a glimpse of Miss Chan because she was paying attention, and it looked like as she was watching them fight, like she was starting to get interested in
Mm-hmm.
Tung Lung. So then she asked Tim to go home. He was tired; he needed to get some rest.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the next scene, they go home. This is finally a short scene. A lot of these scenes are real long. This was a short scene. They go home. Tung Lung asks Miss Chen another weird thing, if he can buy a gun. And she
Yeah.
tells him, yes, anyone can. And, he just thinks about it and just walks away.
Never buys a gun.
Never buys a gun this whole time, never
Right.
looks at a gun. He had the opportunity to take one of the thugs' guns because it was on the
Yeah.
ground.
The
He
one that was
picked it
by the
up.
step. Yeah. He
Yeah,
picked
he
it up and
threw it
threw it.
away.
I was like, he kept that bow staff.
Yeah, well, in the darts, which we see right
And the
here.
dart. Oh, he's killer with the darts though.
Yeah. So right
Oh,
here is the scene that he's sitting on the couch and he's making darts out of uh wood.
he had darts everywhere. He was
Every
pulling them out. I don't know. He threw
yeah,
30 darts.
throughout the whole movie.
It's a whole movie.
And they're real quick. It was that was sweet. That was pretty sweet, but that was it. That was the only thing he did
That
sweet.
was it.
Okay, so then the next scene, Akun brings in food into the restaurant. The workers come in from working out, and they see the food, and they're about to eat it, and he tells them and all that. That's for Tung Lung. When they walk in, everyone is happy to see him. So they kind of starting to change their attitude
Towards
toward
him.
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
at this part. And you got anything else to add to this scene right here?
Nope. Keep going.
All right. Alcun is happy. He tells them that he made a meal just for him. The workers are happy. They're asking him different questions. They wanted him to demonstrate some of his martial arts moves, and then they start trying to imitate him with their moves. Um, Tun Long and the workers go outside, and Tun Long is demonstrating some of the different kicks that he can do. They did a side kick and knocked one of the workers into a whole bunch of boxes. And then everyone ran a check on him. But they were pretty impressed. Um,
I wasn't.
you,
I'm
you
still
know,
on his technique, man.
he wasn't turning his hip over enough for you.
Nothing, man.
Yeah,
It's a movie star. We'll get into that later.
yeah. 30 for 30.
Oh, don't get me started.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Let's get through this. All right. So, what I was about to say was, okay, so this is a restaurant. Now, in this restaurant, we always see these fighters, these workers. We see them. There are about five of them, right?
Yep.
We see Miss Chan, and we see Akun, and we
Uncle
see
Wayne.
Uncle Wang. Okay, so if all of the workers are outside working or working out, like there's nobody cleaning, there's nobody cooking, there's nobody
No.
washing dishes. That was
Nope.
weird.
Nope. Hey, I worked at Big Boy back in the day, and it was like that. Sometimes everybody was outside, but I was like 15.
I did work at Burger King for a couple of months, which
Oh, you worked at Burger King?
yeah, me and Ski did. We worked at Burger King,
Do you?
and
Oh man, Bruce Lee loved Burger King. Did you know that? His
no,
favorite his favorite burger was the Whopper.
shut up. That was stupid.
That's my stupid joke of the day.
Oh man, I thought you were going to tell me something serious.
No, man, I just full of jokes today.
All right, everybody walks into the restaurant. The workers go to change. Akun asks Tung Lung to be his teacher. And he'll tell him we'll talk later. Once again, something else that happens in the movie that you think like now in 2020, like that would have been explained later, or we would have showed them working out or something, you know.
Right.
Every movie we watched so far has had some type of musical montage, and this movie didn't have one.
No.
Like he never prepared to go to battle or not
No, they
like
just
other
they just
movies.
claimed he was that trained assassin from Hong Kong or whatever, martial artist to come in and handle business.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then Tun Long speaks to Miss Chen, asks if there's anything that he can do, and she tells him just to watch out for the thugs. She knows they'll be back.
Right.
I don't. I would have thought that they would have came back with heavy artillery or something. It's the same guys continuing to come back.
Yeah, they didn't try that till the end.
Yeah,
They didn't try to get a strategy until the end, till they were like, he whooped everyone and went to their spot.
right. So
That's yeah.
Okay, so now it's the evening. Miss Chan and Talon go back to the apartment. Um, there's a man waiting inside with a gun when they walk in. He says, "My boss wants to see you." He gets up and Talon throws a dart and hits him in the hand. And then he just attacks him. He does some moves. Um, he beats him up, drags him to the hall, and then closes the door. And then he says, "Okay, Miss Chan, that's it. See you in the morning." And then they go to bed. Like they're not worried about this guy coming right back in, or if
Nothing.
somebody else is in the apartment, or nothing. Beats this guy up, drags him outside, and then just leaves him. Oh man.
And it's like the shortest scenes. I don't want people to watch it, but if you watch it, it's just like that's like as quick as Gene saying it. That's how the scene happened, and it's over,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it makes no sense.
And then there are some other scenes that are just extremely long. Like I was
Yeah,
like writing, I wrote almost like the whole page for some of these. It's like, oh God, come on, move on,
yeah.
chop it up, something.
And they have that creepy music
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah,
between scenes.
yeah. But I just, I didn't knock that too much because I've seen a lot of movies in the '70s that have some, creepy sounding music. So I just, the soundtrack, I was expecting that to be like that. Okay, so now the next scene, there's a man in the office, and we never get a name for this guy, so I only call him boss because
Yeah, that's all they called him.
yeah, that was it. He didn't have a name. He was just the boss. Um, the man, he tells the man who just got beat up that wait, let me go back. I just messed up.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Okay, so the boss tells Mr. Ho and the man that just got beat up that they're good for nothing, and he asked the man if he had his gun, and then he just kind of just looked down when he asked him. That he should have just went ahead and just shot him. But that's what everybody in this movie. They should just went ahead. They saw they could not do anything, hand to hand. They should have all had guns.
Right.
I think every scene. Now
They
that I
get
think
whooped
about it,
every scene.
and I think it's only one person that has a gun, and every time when the thugs come out, I think it's only one with the gun, and everyone else will pick up a stick or a bat or
Right.
even the nunchucks at one point. They picked up.
Man, you talk about nunchucks real quick. I used to think Bruce Lee was so sweet with the nunchucks until
because you
I
didn't see
watched
the
this
whole
movie.
movie. You
Until
just
I
you
watched
just
this movie. I'm
what
like, man,
was wrong with that?
this is some basic stuff he's doing. He wasn't
Well,
doing
this is
anything sweet.
1972. You can't compare that to what's going on now in tournaments.
And nunchucks and nunchuck. I'm not talking about a tournament. He just wasn't that sweet with them.
That's what I'm saying. Is because you've watched a lot of sweet. I don't even know what they call them. Nunchuckers.
I guess.
I guess.
But
You
he
see
did
the
have those big boys. He had like some 16-inch boys. They
yeah,
were huge.
yeah. So he didn't have any sparkles on him or anything like that.
Oh man, stop.
Okay, so the boss says he tells them like he wants the restaurant. Mr. Ho says he's doing the best that he can, but that they're being helped. Miss Chan and Uncle Wayne, they're being helped by Tung Lam. Um, the boss is surprised that it's only one man. So this is his first time finding out that it's only Tung Lam that's been beating him up. Because I think at this point in time in the movie, there's been about 2 or 3 attempts on the restaurant. Yeah, 2 or 3. He's surprised it's only one man, but Mr. Ho says he knows Chinese kung fu, and kung fu. The boss asks, curiously, like I guess he maybe he didn't even understand it or know what kung fu was, or I don't know.
Right.
Um, you know what? Was there a language barrier? Because in one of the scenes coming up, Mr. The boss and Tun Lung are going to be in the same scene together.
Yes, yes. So I thought about this. I know exactly what you're talking about. So in the original screenplay, because it was obviously Chinese,
Uh-huh.
that there was a language barrier. But then they played the role out like it's a language barrier, but they're both all of them are speaking English.
Yes.
I was like, wow, that must be they're just reading the script from the original.
Yeah, that was
It's
messed
so
up. Bad
weird.
that was bad editing on the editor's part.
Bruce Lee
Um
directed the movie.
yeah, I can't yeah, I know he wrote it.
He directed
Uh
it too.
yeah. Well,
That's why it
he
was
should
his last one.
well
It's the last.
he
It's
should
the only movie he ever directed.
I mean I wouldn't want to have dual roles either though. As a actor, well, actor and director. I
I
mean, that
agree,
couldn't have been too easy.
because obviously this is what happens. This mess.
Right. Um. Okay. So the next morning we see Tunlun practicing. He stops to look at a picture. And then he smells food, and Miss Chen has cooked for him. Another scene that's it's like, what's the point of this? Um, he's eating his food, and she asks him if it was okay, and then he says it's much better in Hong Kong. I'm like, wow, that's
Yeah, it was rude.
it's got a bow for that one. And but she asked me if he wanted some more, and he was like, yeah, I want some more. Um, and then she wanted to show him around Rome. I wonder why they picked Rome for this movie. Like, well, like that's just odd, you know, choice. I guess this
I don't
movie
know.
wasn't made. Movie wasn't made for Americans. But I just think, I
Right.
mean, I just never really hear too many people say, we're gonna put the setting in Rome.
I wonder. And it probably costs a lot of money to have that final fight scene there.
Yeah, I was yeah that Coliseum. That was like a
Whoa!
Coliseum. What's up?
This movie What do you think it grossed?
I have no idea.
$130 million in 1972, equivalent to 700 million today.
What?
Yes.
Wait a minute. That's not. Wait a
Hold on.
minute.
Listen, the
Is that for
budget.
this whole time, like from 1972 until now? It grew that over time. Like
It
it could
says, I'll read
it
it to
could
you.
it
The
can't.
film went on to
That's ridiculous.
gross. Listen, the film went on to gross an estimated U.S. $130 million worldwide, equivalent to approximately 700 million adjusted to inflation, against a tight budget of 130K is what they made the movie on,
130,000. They made
earning
that.
a thousand times its budget. It was the highest grossing Hong Kong film up until Lee's next film, Enter the Dragon.
So people must just been going back and forth to watch this movie over and over and over. That
Maybe
has to
it's
happen.
maybe it's the culture. Maybe it's just we're just not used to these type of films or something.
Mm,
I don't know. All right,
man,
man, let's get this
that,
over
that's
with.
that's a nice lick though, man.
Sorry
But
to
man,
interrupt. I was looking up the Rome and I
yeah,
saw
yeah,
that. Wow.
it's all good. Okay, so the next scene, the thugs are back in the restaurant. Surprise, surprise. Um, and then one of the thugs is about to attack when Akun um when Mr. Ho says that he wants to tell Uncle Wayne to move. What? Wait a minute. This is not making sense. I don't know what the heck I'm writing.
Isn't this where they come in and try to tell them? Ho comes in with the two guys and tells them that they have to sell it,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
they have to. Yeah.
So all of the workers come out,
Yep.
and then one of the thugs pulls a gun. The worker puts his hands up, and then Mr. Ho asks, "Where's Tun Lao?" Then he looks back at the boss. So the boss is finally here this time. So I guess he wanted to check things out for himself. So he was adamant about knowing about where Tun Long was. And our coon tells him he didn't know where he was at. And then one of the thugs poked him with the gun, and he fell down.
Right.
Um, and then Uncle Wayne says that he's coming here. He's coming here now. So that's where Tun Lung and Miss Chen they were walking around Rome. So they hadn't been to the restaurant that day because remember he was
Right.
eating
That's
breakfast.
right. Yep.
So
And he was rude to her in Rome. She's
yeah,
trying to show him the Colosseum, and he turned his back to her, and he was kind of a jerk.
yeah, he was he was an asshole for real. So when they come into the restaurant, the thugs are there. Um, and then the boss and Tun Lung come. This is the scene we were just talking about, and they come face to face. And then the boss slaps him a couple times.
Man, I couldn't believe that.
Why?
Because
Could
he
you?
kind of just stood there, and then
Yeah,
he went to do it again. He just grabbed his arm.
right. He grabbed his arm. Um, and then this one, Mr. Ho. This is the part that you texted me about. Also,
Man, come on, man.
so, I don't know why they add that in, but he was rubbing Lung's stomach and then said something to the fact like, "Oh, some abs" or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, they are awfully brave to, you know, insinuate this type of stuff in 1972. You know,
Yeah. I mean, he was, the shiny shirts, and he was very flamboyant, to say the
yeah,
least.
yeah. He was like a gangster. What's that? The one guy that used to have all those bolos. They call them bolos or bows.
Boas,
Yeah, boas.
like fur
Liberace.
fur
He was
coats
like
and boas.
Liberace. He was like a Asian Liberace. That's what
Oh
this
my.
Mr. O
Yes,
was.
that's a good comparison, actually.
Yeah, that's who he was. That's
Right.
what exactly he was. Very very. But I mean, this guy, this actor, he was doing pretty good though as an actor, portraying this role that he was portraying. Um, so I don't know, but he was winking and flirting with Tung Lung in the scene also. Um, and then they decide to go outside. The thugs take Tung Lung outside. Um, and at this scene, only three or four of them take him outside to fight. Um, and this is when he grabs a gun and throws it away. He's fighting with a bow and he's beating them up with it. He takes those guys out. He goes back inside. He throws a dart at one of and then the workers jump up and they fight.
Right.
And then Sun Lung tells this is part he tells Mr. Ho to tell the boss if he comes back, uh, that that he'll pretty much die. They leave, the thugs leave, and then the customers come in. And Tun Lung is standing at the door as they come in and almost kicks
Was
them.
kick something in the face.
That was a funny scene. I give him
It
one for that
was.
one.
Yeah. And he was like, "Oh no, sorry, enter."
Right. So Miss Chan and the workers. Okay, now this is another weird scene. Miss Chan and the workers are sitting down and they're looking at a letter. And now we can't understand what this letter says,
Right.
right?
We figure it out though.
Yeah, but where did they get the letter from?
I don't know. She had it, right? She just walked in with
They
it.
never
They never
no
really said.
no they never said it was just there. But they were saying like I assume the letter was saying something to the fact like okay, we are going to assassinate Tun Lung.
Oh yeah.
That's what I assumed the letter said. Um,
I assumed that the letter said he had to go back to Hong Kong because after the letter came, he started talking about having to go back to Hong Kong.
right. But see, but see, I thought that the first time I saw it, but when I saw it again this last time, when she went, okay, so the next scene after they're done talking, looking at the letter, when she walks into that apartment, she's telling him that they're going to kill him, that he needs to leave because every time it was the fireworks went off, she jumped
Yeah,
and she
because it
was
was the
scared.
New Year. It was the
Right?
New Year.
Yeah. So it was the Chinese New Year. So every time she jumped, so I started thinking that they knew that the thugs were planning to kill
Oh,
him.
I'm reading it right here. But the boss threatens to have Tang kill via the letter unless he leaves by Chinese New Year. So you're right. That's what it
Okay.
said.
Okay. So then, as they're talking, so we see a sniper is setting up, and he is across the street, on a rooftop, looking down on them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and as Miss Chan is talking to Tun Lung, he is like he has his back to the window, up against the window, kind of.
Yeah.
Um, and then he sits up, and then the shot is taken and misses him. Now, he ran outside. He automatically knew where the shot came from.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I mean,
he ran to that building. He went upstairs. The guy is there. The sniper is there with other guns. He shoots at the door. He sees the doorknob starts to move.
open. Yeah.
Yeah. So he shoots at it and he uses all of his bullets. And then that's when Tun Lung comes in. And he throws a dart at him, right?
Yeah. Well, he starts running away, and then he throws that dart, hits him in the hamstring.
Right. Right. And then that's pretty much all we see from him. We don't really see anything else. Um, the next scene, the thugs have Miss Chan.
Yeah.
She is with them. You know what? I did miss a part because
He goes to her apartment and
yeah,
finds that she's
Tun
gone.
Lung goes back to the apartment and she's gone. And then that's when he pulls out the card because he was going to call an emergency or a taxi or something.
Right.
And he just says 3-5 or 3 or something like that. And then
Yeah.
he just hangs up and runs out and leave. I wonder why they did not, talk about him being illiterate. Why make this a part of this movie, but not say anything about it or explain anything or give it a
Yeah.
backstory or something?
They don't though.
No, they don't. They just have him in situations like this where he can't call for help, or like the other part in the first half of the movie when he was at the restaurant and he could not order food because he didn't
Right.
know how to read the menu. So it seems like this is something big that they should have explained in the movie.
Totally should have explained it.
So the thugs have Miss Chan, and they're trying to get her to sign some papers to sell the restaurant. Mr. Ho threatens her with a knife. She refuses to sign. She tells them that Tun Lung will be there pretty soon. Mr. Ho tells her that he's dead, and then he hears whistling. And then when he looks at the door, you see Tun Lung and all of the workers have come there. They knew exactly where the thugs were.
Oh yeah.
Like they knew exactly where the business was. Like how
He's the
ah
boss.
yeah, yeah, man. They it's like they could have went there and handled this a long time ago.
Right.
But honestly, when we get to the end of the movie, you can see all of this was done for nothing. Like this whole movie, from the side of the bad guys, was all done for nothing. Like this could have all been handled easily. Um. So then, all of the workers they jump in, they start fighting the thugs. Um, Tong Lung hits a couple. Mr. Ho and the boss are eventually all alone. All of the thugs get knocked out. Tong Lung warns the boss one more time to lay off. Mr. Ho has an idea. This is the next scene. After they leave, Mr. Ho has an idea. He wants to bring in two other martial artists. He knows a Japanese martial artist, and he has a European martial artist.
Yeah.
Right. He wants to bring them in, but he didn't know how they were going to react toward each other because I guess they knew each other, or they have some type of past. And he
Yeah,
said that
you
he
can
didn't
tell.
know. Yeah. And then also he says that There's an American fighter also, Colts, and that's Chuck Norris, ladies and gentlemen.
Now, do you think Chuck Norris's, not that he said a lot in the movie, but do you think his voice was dubbed?
It's funny you asked that because I was just wondering that today. Um, I don't know. It seemed like it was. It seemed like his voice was. It seemed like it was overdubbed, but it seemed
Right.
like it was his voice though that was overdubbed. Like they took his voice and still plastered it over overdub. The track. Because it didn't look right when he was talking. It didn't seem like it still matched up, but it still sounded
Right.
like that was his voice. So I don't know. Maybe not. I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I thought it was dubbed.
Okay. All right. So now it's New Year's. Everyone is happy. At the restaurant. Sun Lung receives a letter, and then he passes it to Miss Chan. Once again, he can't
You
he
can't
can't
read.
read. So the letter is from Miss Chan's uncle in Hong Kong. And he wants Tung Lung to come back. He wants him to leave the restaurant. But Tung Lung says that he's going to stay until everything is settled. He doesn't want to leave. So Mr. Ho then enters the restaurant. He says the boss wants to meet with Tung Lung. And Uncle Wayne thinks that's a good idea. He agrees and says maybe they can all work together instead of fighting. And they agree to meet tomorrow. The next scene, we see Colt arrive. We see him get off the airplane, and that's it. That's the end of that scene. The next scene is the Japanese fighters. The Japanese fighter and the European fighter are in the office, and they're fighting with each other. Mr. Ho is trying to settle things down, but he can't get a hold of him, and he's jumping on the European guy's back, and just looking real stupid. That's when the boss walks in with Colt, and then the European fighter is Colt's student. He comes up and he bows to him, and I think Colt says that this is my student.
Bob.
So then the boss says that Colt will be responsible for handling Tung Lung. Um, the Japanese fighter is not really happy about it, and then him and Colt fight, and Colt whips up on him, beats him up. Colt, I'm sorry. And then we got the next scene. Mr. Ho arrives at the restaurant. I think they called it the Empress Restaurant. Um, Sun Lung, the Uncle Wang, and the workers arrive also. Mr. Ho apologizes and says the boss is not going to be arriving, but he says that they can go meet him. He has his car. Yeah, I wouldn't trust that. I would have smelt the setup right there.
That's the setup.
um, so then they go to this remote location. It's like in the middle of nowhere. This is pretty much the end of the movie now.
Yeah.
So as they arrive, they get out the car, and then they see the European and the Japanese martial artists fighters approaching them, and then and Mr. Ho just takes off. He just runs away.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then that's when one of the workers realizes that this is a trap. It's a setup. Um, then the workers fight with the Japanese fighter and the European fighter, and they get beat up pretty much.
The
Um,
European fighter is Bob Wall.
Bob Wall, where's he from?
He was a martial artist from America in the
Oh,
70s.
no, I thought you might have known like what state he was from, like Chicago or
Oh,
California.
I think the West Coast
Okay,
or Texas or something. Let me look.
he's a point fighter.
He was he was in that era, like
Okay,
when it first started, like the Skipper Mullins and Joe Louis and Chuck Norris and all those guys.
okay. Well, Tula jumps into the fight, and Mr. Ho is standing behind a tree watching. Um, and then Uncle Wang is there also, and he's standing by the car. The Japanese fighter is just he was just standing there. The European fighter was beating up all three of the workers who were there. And then he knocks one of them out, but two other ones get up. And then Tung Lung fights the European fighter, and then he beats him. While the two workers were fighting with the Japanese fighter, and eventually the Japanese fighter gets the best of them, and then Tung Lung and the Japanese fighter fight. What did you think about any of these fight scenes?
I thought they were horrible.
Yeah.
They were, it's like it wasn't even realistic. You could see they were missing by like
Yes.
3 feet. It was
The
horrible.
techniques didn't look good either. Like it just didn't
No,
look. I didn't
it
like
honestly
it.
looked like you made a movie with a bunch of purple belts.
Mm.
Like I know novice people that kick better than some
I
of these
mean,
guys.
yeah, yeah. It didn't look good. I mean,
I'm not
it
trying to
wasn't.
be disrespectful, man. I'm just trying to be honest.
I
It was
mean,
horrible.
I didn't even feel the choreography either. I didn't like the
Mm.
choreography. So anyway, Tun Lung eventually knocks out the Japanese fighter, and then Mr. Ho yells at him to gets his attention to come after him. So then Uncle Wang tells him to go. Um, the Japanese fighter gets back up, and then Tony and Jimmy, those are the two workers. They said that they can finish him. Um, so then Tung Lung um, runs after Mr. Ho.
Ho.
Jimmy and Tony are fighting a Japanese fighter, and they eventually beat him up, finish him off, right?
Yep.
So then they're tired, and then they're sitting on the ground, and then Uncle Wayne comes up to them to check on them, see how they're doing, ask them if they're all right. And then I did not see this coming.
Me
Uncle
either.
Wayne stabs them in the back. And I mean literally, he pulls out a knife and stabs each one of them in the back. And I was shocked. I didn't see that. I didn't see that swerve coming.
Me either.
Uh, so they asked him, I don't know which one it was. I don't know which work. I don't know if this was Tony or Jimmy asked him why. And he said that he worked all of his life. He didn't have anything to show for it. He said that he had a wife and kids back in Hong Kong, and he wanted the restaurant to be sold so he can go back to Hong Kong a rich man. So this whole thing could have been avoided if he would have just told
sell
his
it in the beginning.
yeah, because she was always coming to him for advice.
Right.
So at the very beginning of this whole thing, weeks before Tun Lung even showed up, he could have just talked her into selling it and starting over somewhere else. Yep. If that's what he wanted, because he seemed like an equal partner with her. Like he didn't seem like he worked for her.
Right.
So then
we included her in it.
Yeah, so he pretty much killed Tony and Jimmy, and that was the end of them. But like I said, I was shocked. I didn't see that coming.
Me either.
So here we are, almost done with this movie. Finally, we have Tung Lung looking for Mr. Ho. He's searching for him, and he's by a coliseum, like an old coliseum. It looks like it's kind of like in ruins, like from the Greek fighter days.
It's the real Coliseum from Rome.
Okay, so they really did go to Rome to shoot it.
Yeah, they had to have, unless they made it look like it, but it looked real to me.
Yeah, not for that budget that you said. Not for that budget that you said that they had.
$130K.
Yeah, that would have been to create that Coliseum would have been a lot more than $130K.
They had to go there.
Yeah, they had to go there. They had to go there for real. So he's there. He's looking for Mr. Ho, and he hears him because I could not make out what Mr. Ho was saying. You hear him from a distance, and it was kind of like an echo.
Yep.
So he would know when he was going in the right direction. And then this part really got me. A cat appears, and he kind of jumps back.
The cat was horrible.
Yeah. So the cat, I don't know, man. The cat sees him, and he walks away. And then during all of this time, we see Colt, aka Chuck Norris. He's watching Tung Lung as he's looking for him. Before, actually, you know what? I missed the part. Before Tung Lung even entered the Coliseum, he saw Colt from a distance,
up in the like top tier of it.
Yeah. So when I saw that, I thought to myself, like, Like, why does he even think that that's an enemy? He doesn't know him. He just sees a guy standing up in a coliseum with a karate uniform on. Like, why would you think that that's an enemy for you?
Right.
You know.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's
so,
true.
so as he's going through the coliseum, we see, you know, Colt in the distance, from above, watching him, and then eventually they meet up at the top, and then they take off their gis and they start flexing and start warming up. I've
Right.
never seen a fight like this. Like, this is the big boss, and the big boss, the big boss is stretching out. He's flexing. They're doing front stretch kicks. They're doing some stiff punches.
He's
They're
rolling his shoulders.
yeah, popping his knuckles and all of
Shoulders.
that.
He had arthritis, man. As much
Yeah,
as he was always popping.
yeah. So then they start to fight, and at first Colt is beating him up. I thought that was impressive. That
He got that hook kick on him.
yeah, he
Yeah,
didn't
he went.
but I still didn't like the choreography. Like, it looked
Me either.
fake. It looked stupid. It looked fake.
It
It looked
did.
like it looked real one steppy.
1972.
But he did let Chuck Norris get in a couple shots in. Like, he didn't treat him like a beat up person, like one of the
Right.
thugs, whatever.
He gave
Um,
him some shots.
yeah, he did. And then he eventually took over, and all of this is going on, and this cat is back, and he's watching this fight, and they would show the cat like a spectator.
Right.
I was like, what? Like, this is
It's weird
stupid.
with all these movies. So we had the what was it? An eagle.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
the Van
I
Damme
forgot about
movie.
that. Yeah, we
Cat.
did. The
Man,
cat.
these Hong Kong movies are crazy.
So, but even as Tung Lung and Colt are fighting, eventually Colt starts getting. I mean, I'm sorry, Tung Lung starts getting the best of Colt. So they were going back and forth for a little while, and then we get to a point where Tung Lung has pretty much finished him off, and they do a close up shot of Colt, and the camera goes in and out, and this music goes, and then they do it to the cat, and I said, "What the hell? Why are they doing that to the cat? Why is like they literally are acting like this cat is really watching them and
Right.
understanding what is going on in this fight? So they go in and out on the cat, and then they do the same thing to Tung Lung. And I was like, I'm telling you, I was actually drinking when that when that happened. I had a tasty beverage, and I was like, wait a minute, like, am I tripping? Am I buzzing? Like, did they really do that to the cat? I had to rewind it back because I didn't think I saw what I really saw. So I had
Right.
to rewind it back and see, like, dang, they really did. Like, they're making this cat a character now. So yeah, that was dumb. So anyway, eventually after they do that stupid part, Colt runs Colt runs that Tung Lung. He gets him in a headlock, chokes him out, breaks his neck, and then he's done. And then Tung Lung feels a little guilty. He picks up Colt's gi and belt and places it on top of him. And it looked like to
Yeah.
me like this is the first time he ever killed someone because he looked really, really remorseful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He put the he like
yeah. He put the gi on top of his head, and then he put the belt
put a
next to
belt
him,
on him.
and then he just sat there and just kind of looked at him for a minute, and then he heard Mr. Ho laughing or something,
Yeah.
and then he takes off running after him, and then Mr. Ho goes all the way back to where Uncle Wang is, and he tells him that we're all in trouble. He's coming, and as Tun Lung approaches, um, he's talking to Mr. Ho, and he stops Mr. Ho from leaving. And then Uncle Wang is behind Tun Lung, and he's about to stab him with a knife. A car comes up. It's the boss. Mr. Ho sees him, says, "Hey, boss." The boss just leans out the window and shoots Mr. Ho.
Dead.
So then Tun Lung turns around and he sees Uncle Wayne with the knife. Uncle Wayne tries to stop him, tries to stab him a couple times, and then shots rung out again. Then the boss killed Uncle Wayne. Uncle Wayne falls. Tun Lung runs. He runs behind a tree. He tries to throw a dart. I think he did throw a dart. And then the police arrive. They show up, and it's Miss Chan is with them, and also Akun is with her. I want to know, how did they know where to go? Because all that they knew was they were meeting at the restaurants.
Maybe they followed the boss.
Maybe, maybe.
That's the only way.
So they got the police, and the police followed. They say, just keep following him.
Yeah.
Just keep
Follow him.
following him.
He's the guy.
So then the police arrest Mr. The boss. Now, Miss Chan at this point, like, she looks somber when she sees her uncle laying down. She does not know that he was actually setting her up.
Yeah, yeah, guns.
I don't even think Tung Lung really knew what was going on.
No,
Because
he didn't.
yeah, because he never found out. He never found out what Tony and Jimmy had been told. And he just saw that Uncle Wayne was swinging a knife, and he evaded. He moved out the way when he got shot. So he didn't even know. So the next thing, we are in a cemetery, and I'm assuming that was Uncle Wayne's. I mean, it could have been a worker's, but I just assume. And Tun Lung is about to leave. Miss Chen says she could take him, but he says no. And he waves, he waves and just walks off. Yeah. And I wrote this down because this ending was really weird. So after Tun Lung is walking off, Akun says, in the world of guns and knives, wherever Tun Lung goes, he will always travel on his own. And then the camera zooms in on Miss Chan. And like, she was thinking about something like that would make me think like this is going to be a sequel. It's going to have a sequel, Right. I don't know, man. That was it. Thank goodness we're done with that review. The next scene we see Tun Lung walking away and the credits are rolling, and that's it. We're done. Wow. Like I said, people, if you want to watch this movie, it's on Daily Motion. And what did I tell you it was on, Mike?
Pluto
TV. That's right, Pluto TV. So if you want to watch it, download Pluto and watch it, or go to Daily Motion and watch it. But I would not advise that you watch this movie, at least without some alcohol. Or if you know it's bad, so we're talking about it, so it's not going to be good. So if you want to laugh at something, then yeah, turn it on and just expect to laugh. But so this is not what I was expecting. When I saw this movie as a kid, like, I don't remember none of this. I know I saw the part of Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee fight. I knew I don't remember it, but I just knew that I saw that at one point when I was a kid. And I always assume I saw all four of the martial arts movies that Bruce Lee did, but I just don't remember ever seeing this movie at all.
I remember Fist of Fury, Enter the Dragon, and Game of Death.
And Chinese Connection.
I don't remember this.
So yeah, this was goodness gracious.
Maybe we'll give another movie a try down the road, but no time soon, man. I need to go through this.
No, I need a break from Bruce Lee movies. But I was thinking also earlier, like, I don't think like this would have been a movie that would have got me into martial arts. This movie would not have made me want to watch martial arts. Do martial arts. And there was only like a handful of movies in the 80s that I liked as far as martial arts that I would watch all the time. Like, I liked watching The Last Dragon. That was a good movie, for me. It's corny.
Me too.
But that still was a movie that I used to watch a lot as a kid. The Karate Kid movies, I watched those also. But those movies had stories,
Right.
They just weren't. It just wasn't this weird, stuff going on like this movie. Like,
Right. Well, even Enter the Dragon had a
It,
story.
that's another one. Enter the Dragon was another movie they used to watch as a kid. I had that on
Yeah.
a VHS.
Yeah.
But I mean, and that's what I thought this movie was going to be like. I just thought that's what Bruce Lee movies were like. But this movie,
No,
goodness gracious,
it was horrible.
yeah. So that's your overall opinion. Let me give you this: is it better or worse than Fearless Tiger?
Oh, worse.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, I agree. Bruce Lee, no, this movie was, oh man. But I can't knock
Fearless Tiger at least had a little bit of a story.
Yep, but you know what? I can't knock the hustle because it's made a lot more money than Fearless Tiger.
True. True.
But yeah, Fearless Tiger. I never thought that there was going to be a movie that was worse than Fearless Tiger, and now I
Yeah,
found
we just watched it. I watched it twice. I don't know how many times you watched it.
I watched it 3 times. It was
Oh
hard, man.
my lord!
It was hard, man. It was hard. The first time I saw it, my girl watched it with me, but my girl grew up watching martial arts movies, so she knew this movie. She saw it
Did
before.
she move out?
What do you mean?
If I made my girl watch that,
I
she
didn't
would have
make her
moved
watch
out.
it. I didn't make her watch it. No, she came in and sat down, voluntarily sat down and watched it with me. I didn't. No, I didn't. But she's like I said, she's seen it before. She
She's an
grew up.
angel sent from heaven.
She grew up
You better
watching.
keep her.
She grew up watching martial arts movies with her uncle.
Oh,
So
okay.
she likes all of those kung fu movies, and I was just looking like, you like this, but that reminded her of her childhood. But
Right.
oh
They
my
watch.
goodness.
Her uncle was watching Kung Fu Cinema and stuff.
Yeah, like she said
Had to have been.
on
Yeah.
Saturdays, on Saturday afternoons, that he would
Mm-hmm.
watch kung fu movies. So she knew this movie. So, but my goodness, that is it for that movie. Now let's move on to 30 for 30. What you think of it? So 30 for 30 was B Water, was the Bruce Lee 30 for 30. It was a lot in that movie. I mean, in that documentary that I didn't know. Like I didn't know that he was a child movie star. Like I just thought
Yeah.
Bruce Lee just did the karate movies that we know of.
Right.
That's it. I didn't know that he was a child actor at what 5 or something like that.
Yeah, he grew up
And
in the industry.
yeah, grew up until like he was 18 when he left Hong Kong to come over here.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I didn't know he was born here. He was born in San Francisco. I never knew that.
Yeah, me
So
either.
so he had kind of like a dual citizenship because when they sent him over here at 18, his parents he was getting in trouble in Hong Kong, and they sent him to America.
Right.
so so he was pretty much the Chinese Fresh Prince, pretty much.
Oh Lord.
For real, like he was getting in trouble in Hong Kong, and they sent him to America so he can stay out
Lord.
of trouble. You
We're gonna
know.
get sued.
All right. So what did you think of it?
It was like I've always said. I think Bruce Lee he was phenomenally in shape. He was a great CrossFit guy. He was a movie star that
Mm-hmm.
did martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
To call him a fighter still aggravates me. The 30 for 30 made me sick. People talking about he's a great fighter. Who did he fight? He didn't fight no one. He did a
Now,
demo. Well, he's at the karate tournament
yep.
at intermission when we're going to get a drink.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he was. That's what he was. He was doing the demo that you get up and go get a drink. Stop, man. So you guys ever watch, there's like online dating and stuff, and
No,
people make fake profiles. And there's a show on MTV called Catfish.
I
And
heard of
like,
that.
yeah, so like the people make the fake profiles and like lead these people on. Like everyone on 30 and 30, I feel like they were catfished by Bruce Lee. They've been catfished. He's not a fighter. Stop.
When I used to talk about that to people, they used to always bring up that he had a bunch of street fights. We
Okay.
That's all I know. I don't know, man. I've never been a Bruce Lee person. So I, like I said, I learned more about this more about him through this documentary than I've ever known. I've never known too much anything about him.
I don't know one martial artist, one that Bruce Lee would beat up. I don't. I can't say it. None. Even in a controlled fight, like you put him in the ring with gloves, everybody I know is whooping Bruce Lee. I can't think of one person that's not. His technique looked like a purple belt. It was horrible. You're not hitting nobody with a 1-inch punch. Nobody's gonna let you hit him with that jump flying side kick. Stop, man.
Well, what about a skip up side? What about a skip up side kick?
He might hit one person. I don't
I can't even I don't know. It's some people I'm not gonna say. But
I'll take it back, man. There are some people he would beat. I quit. I quit, man.
So what you get? Do you give the 30 for 30 a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
I liked it because it gave great insight to him, who he was, how he came up. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I respect him as like an actor and his martial arts and creating his style, and I respect him. Don't think I don't. Mm-hmm. I just don't think he's a fighter, but I thought it was cool. The martial arts getting a little love and things like that. And then they showed like Christian McCaffrey, some other sports figures, and obviously those are younger guys. Mm-hmm. So he's gonna last lifetimes, man. Mm-hmm. He's a legend. So I mean, you got to respect what he did for his style, but I don't even know if who does his style, or if it's around, or who's head of his organization, or if they have schools. I would be intrigued.
Yeah, they do. I've seen stuff. I can't remember at the top of my head.
The Jet Kundo schools or whatever.
Yeah. And then every now and then you'll meet somebody who is strange and is probably lying to you, who says that they trained in that style.
God, I love those people.
I don't. I want to get them away from me. I don't like talking to weird martial arts or
questions.
I don't have the patience for that.
What style karate? What style are you? Karate. I love those people. I do the martial arts. What style are you? Karate.
No, okay. I don't. No, I get some people that talk weird. They give me some type of weird explanation. Like I said, man, I had one guy when I was teaching the Pontiac. He came in and told me that he was he said a tiger chain builder, something stupid like that. And I said, okay, all right, I gotta finish my class. You gotta go. You gotta leave. You know how to do the quarter blood technique. I'm like, no, don't go. Please leave. I don't like talking to those type of people, especially in front of parents and students. And I really don't even like talking to them when it's just me and them one-on-one after everyone leaves. If someone comes into your karate school and wants to have a conversation with you, I don't like those conversations. It irritates me.
Right.
Yeah. Did you watch the UFC?
Nope.
I didn't see it either. I saw some highlights.
I saw some highlights too.
Yeah, but I didn't really. I didn't watch. I didn't want to watch it. It's like they know how to really oversaturate themselves. They have entirely too many. In my opinion, they have too many events. I would like it better. I used to want to see it MMA every single week, right? But that was back when there used to be Strike Force and Elite XC before they combined. When there was still Pride was around. When you got to see other different types of organizations and other fighters, there used to be a league that had like teams. It was team MMA. It was out the same time as the WCL.
I thought it was the same. Yeah. Yep. That's what it was.
Yeah.
But they fought in like a boxing ring.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
Yeah.
yep. And everyone
I
had
know what you're talking
their
about.
own color. Yeah. So I like watching the different variations of MMA. And at that time, Strike Force looked really, really low budget at that time.
Right.
Um, but now with the UFC, it seemed like every week they have a different
Yeah.
event.
Yep. Either a
And,
fight night or a pay per view or something.
and now they have something coming up, Fighter Island. Are they going to have, I think, 3 or 4 events on an
Really?
island somewhere? Yeah. I just saw that today, and I was actually working, so I didn't get a chance to click on the article and read it. But I don't know. I didn't want to watch the fight this weekend, man. I just didn't.
Me
I
either.
didn't. I didn't. I didn't. I know Amanda Nunes, and I think Cody fought on that also.
Cody won. Amanda won.
Yeah, but other than but still, like to me, they're not even superstar fighters. Like
Right.
if they were like in the NBA, they wouldn't be on the LeBron level, and
Right.
Anthony Davis, and they wouldn't be
No.
they wouldn't be
They're
on there.
role
They would,
players.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly. And I don't want to see a card of role players. You know, um,
Right.
I don't know, man. I think the UFC needs to do a better way of promoting and elevating their fighters to become superstars.
Yeah. I think it's just dying down, man. I just think it's kind of like kickboxing in the '80s. It's dying out. What do you think about Conor retiring?
I laughed. He did that before. He
You think
did it.
he's really retired?
No, I don't think he's really retired. What's
Me
going to
either.
end up happening? He's going to end up getting an offer for a big fight. Dana give him a lot of money, and he'll fight. You know, I want him to fight. I want him to fight Nate Diaz again. That's what I want to see him fight because I don't think he beat Nate that second fight.
I
I
don't
think
either.
I think Nate won.
I
But yeah,
heard
I think he'll. I
Masvidal
think
wants
he'll.
out of his contract too.
Yep, he wants out of his contract. Yeah, but they're not getting paid. Like you
Right.
can't. I mean, you gotta
So, but
pay.
where are they gonna go? One Bellator. Is
Mhm.
Bellator really paying them that kind of money?
I don't know. I don't know what their pay
I don't.
structure is like.
I don't
But
know either.
to me, it should not be that big of a difference as far as how much money Bellator is taking in because Bellator and the UFC they have similar type sponsors.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's that you get money from having sponsors, and also Bellator has the majority of their fights on TV,
Right.
right? Like free cable. Like they don't really have too many pay per views, or have they ever had any pay per views?
I think they've had pay per views.
They have.
I think so.
I don't know. I've only seen them on TV. Um, but that TV money is hefty. Also, you get a lot of money for being on TV. So I don't
Oh
know, man.
yeah.
I think a lot of these companies are just really really greedy. That's the
I do too.
they're just really really greedy, and
Pay the fighters.
yeah, they don't want to be like um, uh, boxing. Um, Boxing has all of the different organizations that the WBA, WBC,
IBF, WBC.
IBF,
Yeah.
um, and that would be cool if there was some type of organizing body that was over MMA like that. Um, that could help. I think that some type of regulation like that could help eventually get the fighters paid better.
Right.
But as long as these organizations are solo and they're on their own private business, then they can pay you whatever they want to pay you, and you're either going to take it or you're not.
Yeah.
you know, and Bellator is the only other company that can be close to the UFC as far as giving them some type of payment. I don't know like what other organizations are out there like that. Are there any?
Yeah.
At one
Just
point in time,
one. That organization won.
oh
I
yeah,
know
yeah,
they
yeah,
pay
yeah,
just
yeah.
them. That's all I know. Bellator 1 and UFC.
Is there not a one another organization in Japan now?
I don't know.
Hmm.
Mm, I do
Oh,
not
well.
know.
And then also man, I always get this guy's name messed up. The heavyweight champion, Stipe.
Yeah, he's gonna fight Cormier.
Yeah, Cormier again. I don't want to see that. I think Daniel Cormier. I think DC should retire. He does a good job on the commentator side of things.
Right.
I don't really see a purpose of him um, fighting again. Why?
No,
Unless he's not getting the big paydays like Connor. you
no,
know,
I don't think no one was.
man, what did he really do to deserve that?
Well, a figure, man. He was created controversy, sparked interest. He was the man they love to hate.
It
People will
seems
pay
like
to see somebody get their ass kicked they don't like.
there should be so many other people who try that.
Cody tried it. Didn't work out for him. Cody Garbrandt tried it. What's the other guy that just tried it?
Who was I can't remember
The
guy.
Trump guy.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking of him. I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't stand him too.
Yeah. So, I mean, a couple of people have tried it. Tito tried it.
Yeah,
How many people tuned in to watch Tito get his ass kicked? A lot.
I was rooting for Tito at that
I
time.
was too.
But I mean, like he lost to Chuck, what 2 or 3 times.
Twice.
He couldn't handle Chuck, and then Randy Couture, he lost to Chuck twice, and
Yeah.
then Randy Couture, and then that was pretty much it when he was at the top because I don't think everyone else were really as good as him. I think
No.
he fought Vitor Belfort, but that was when Belfort was coming up.
Yeah.
All right, man. So
Did
let's
he?
see.
He didn't lose to Shamrock ever, did he?
No, he didn't lose.
I didn't
Ken.
think he did. Yeah.
No, he never lost to Ken. He beat Ken.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Tell everyone what's our next movie.
Best of the best.
Best of the best. Now, this movie I'm excited about. I like this movie a lot.
Me too.
I think this is the only movie that is about team fighting.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know of any other one that's about team fighting. Um, so I like this movie. You know what, man? You always have reminded me of Travis Brickley. That's who you have. Oh, you've been our Travis Brickley. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
What?
The fat country dude. For real?
And when we were younger, that was you. You were our
Yeah,
Travis
that's
Brickley.
messed up.
I'm not saying that because Travis had a mouth on him, and he would get into some situations.
I was not that mouthy, man.
You don't think so, Mike?
I don't think so. I really don't. I pretty much kept to myself, just and I was just vocal if I didn't like somebody like Bruce Lee. I've always spoke my opinion. If people have taken it the wrong way, I apologize.
Sometimes you should apologize. Sometimes you don't have to apologize, Mike.
Yeah, true.
All right. So our next movie is Best of the Best.
Best of the Best.
I'm excited about watching this one. You know what? About Best of the Best, I think they got like 4 Best of the Best out movies.
Yeah, they got done.
Yeah, the first 2, I like the first 2.
Yeah,
I saw the third one and I was blown away by how stupid it was. He was like it wasn't a team anymore. It was just man, I can't even think of my man's name. Whatever his name was.
Right.
The one of the co-stars, the Asian guy. It was him taking on racists in the South. And I was like, why is he fighting the Ku Klux Klan? Like, what does this have to do with Best of the Best? This has nothing to do with martial arts or
Right.
tournament or nothing. But the first two, most definitely, I like those two movies a lot.
Yeah, me too.
So finally, we can get back to watching something that we that we really
It was a
enjoy.
rough 2 weeks, man.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, we're gonna have more. We're gonna have more weeks like that, man. Unfortunately, because I
Let's pray to
think
God.
I think as we watch some of these movies, like the Steven Seagal movies, if we ever get into any of
Yeah.
those, or
You know,
if
I
we
like
get into
Steven.
some
You don't like Steven, but I like Steven.
I mean, he all he did was, a whole bunch of different, grabs and holds and locks and like his
Man, he's
his
sweet with it
movies,
though.
huh?
He's sweet with it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna knock that, but I was like, I'm not really seeing too many sweet kicks or punches or,
Oh man, it's
you
not his
know,
style.
no. And now he's completely flipped out, but that's for another
Oh yeah,
topic.
he's done lost his mind.
Yeah, he lost his mind. Um, so we're gonna watch Best of the Best this week. We had that review for you guys. Next week, let us know what you thought. If you watched Way of the Dragon, Return of the Dragon, let us know what you think about it. Reach out to us on our social media platforms. Once again, this is Fists, Kicks, and Flicks. I'm Gene. That's Mike. And we'll see you guys next week. We out. Peace.